besties, what's up? My name is Makenzie and welcome to my channel and welcome to a new video. Today we are going to be going over my end of year TBR. Now, little disclaimer, I feel like this is a lot of books to put on an end of the year TBR, especially where I'm filming this about halfway through September, but I would still like to try to be ambitious and finish all of these goals. So let's talk about the books I want to read. I don't think there will be very many, if any, synopsi for the books. I'm just going to show them and we're going to talk about them a little bit. Other than that, let's get into the video. So first, let's talk about the first trilogy I want to complete, and that is the Shadow and Bone trilogy by Leigh Bardugo. First, we have Shadow and Bone, then we have Siege and Storm, then we have Ruin and Rising. So, if you don't know, basically this book follows Alina, and one day in the middle of a battle, basically light erupts out of her, and it's about her trying to figure out who she is and what she can do. I'm currently liking this one so far. I'm more reading this trilogy to get to the next series I'm going to talk about, but I also love Leigh Bardugo. She wrote one of my favorite books of all time, Ninth House, so I'm excited to get to move on with this trilogy and hopefully love it. Also, Steven, my husband, hi, he's going to be excited to see that I have these books on here because he bought these as a surprise to me. Next, we have the Six of Crows duology, also by Leigh Bardugo. So we have Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. And the only thing I basically know about this is it follows a group of 6 people and they're out to perform a heist of some type. I don't know what they're trying to get back. I've heard great things about the characters, especially Kaz, so I'm excited to see what I think of Kaz. Next, we have Kingsbane and Lightbringer, both by Legrand. These are the last 2 books in the Furyborn trilogy. I recently reread Furyborn and I absolutely adored it the 3rd time I read it, so I'm excited to continue on with the series. If you don't know, basically this follows Elena and Riel, and one of them is the Sun Queen and one of them is the Blood Queen. One of them is destined to ruin the world and one is destined to save the world. I've already started my read of this. I just need to sit down and dedicate some time to it, but I'm very excited for both of these. I think they're going to be phenomenal, just like the first book was. Next, we have The Kingdom of Copper and Empire of Gold by S.A. Chakraborty. So we have Kingdom of Copper, Empire of Gold. If this looks funny to you, it's because it's actually an arc. Was not sent it by the publisher, obviously. I actually went into Barnes & Noble a couple years ago before Empire of Gold came out to get the whole trilogy, and the person that worked at Barnes & Noble actually had an extra arc and he gave it to me, which was very sweet of him, and thank you. But yes, I'm dying to read these last 2 installments of the City of Brass trilogy. City of Brass was phenomenal. City of Brass follows Nari and she summons a djinn, and basically it's about her going to Daevabad and finding out who she really is, and it's just really, really fun. I really liked it. I liked the world. I heard that this one goes more into politics and I'm super excited about that. Yeah, I think these 2 books are gonna be fantastic. Next we have Crumbs by Danie Sterling. I'm not gonna lie, I don't actually know what this is about. I believe it follows a witch and a regular person falling in love at a bakery. I don't remember whose recommendation I bought this off of. I think I saw it on Jody from Vanilla Moon's channel, but I'm very excited. This seems like the perfect fall read, and it seems like it's going to be really cute too. So I'm super excited about this one as well. Next, we have the whole Kingdom of the Wicked trilogy by Kerri Maniscalco. So we have Kingdom of the Wicked, Kingdom of the Cursed, and Kingdom of the Feared, which I believe as of me filming this right now, it's not out. Also, I'm probably not going to have it for a couple months after it comes out anyways. In case you were curious, these are from the bookish box, these covers are, so that's why they look a little bit different than the normal covers. Kingdom of the Wicked follows Amelia, and one day after she discovers her twin's body, she decides to summon one of the 7 princes of hell to try to figure out who murdered her sister and why they did. This book is super good. This is actually one of the 2 rereads that I have on this because I wanted to reread it and annotate it. Okay, and now we're going to talk about the only book that I don't actually physically have, but I have to read it before the next series I'm going to talk about. So that is The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. I'm not going to lie, this is blasphemous as a fantasy reader, but I have no clue what The Hobbit is about. I do need to read it before I read The Lord of the Rings, though. First we have The Two Towers, then we have The Fellowship of the Ring, and last we have The Return of the King. I've wanted to read these ever since I got them, but I have to read The Hobbit first. Also, blasphemy coming from me, but I don't exactly know what Lord of the Rings is about either. I heard that there's a lot of friendship in it, but that's about it. Murphy Napier loves this trilogy, or this, you know, this world, and I trust her, so I bought these. Y'all, I put those books in the wrong order. I am so sorry. The Fellowship of the Ring is the first book, and The Two Towers is the second book. Glad I realized that now and not later when I went to read them, because that would have been a mess. Just kidding, I would have probably looked at the covers and realized, because they do say on there. I just haven't paid attention that closely before, I guess. But I will be reading the trilogy in order. I won't be making up an order as I see fit. Next we have Sorcery of Thorns by Margret Rogerson. First of all, like, this cover. To be fair, I think all of these covers are beautiful, but for some reason this one just does it for me. I don't necessarily know what Sorcery of Thorns is about either. I just know it follows this girl who is in charge of a magical library, I believe, and one of the dangerous tomes gets out. So she has to trust a sorcerer and go on this adventure with him. And I think they might fall in love in this book. Again, not so sure. Next, we have Lake's Edge by Lyndall Clipstone. Should have memorized that name before I filmed, but I actually genuinely do not know what this book is about. It just gives me gothic vibes, and I believe the second book is coming out either this year or next year. But this cover also just like freaking does this for me. Like, love this. So I'm excited to see what kind of gothic goodness comes out of this book. Next we have Punk 57 by Penelope Douglas. Not proud to admit this, but I've read two of Penelope Douglas's books previously this year. I read Credence and Birthday Girl, and I really loved them. So I'm excited to read Punk 57. I started reading it earlier this year, and I did like what I read. The whole 34 pages of it that I read. And I did annotate some of it, so hopefully I do love this book. Next we have another series that I'm afraid is going to be in the wrong order, but we're just going to go for it. So we have the Off-Campus series by L. Kennedy. So this features my other reread because I accidentally put it on the list without meaning to. So we have The Deal, The Mistake, The Score, The Goal, and The Legacy. These are all companion novels in the same series, and it just follows a bunch of people, so I don't really know how to explain the series. I will say I have read the first two books as of filming this, so that's super good, and I'm part of the way through this course, so I can say at least part of the series I have enjoyed so far. So next we have the Red Rising trilogy by Pierce Brown. We have Red Rising, Golden Sun, and Morning Star. I just have a really good feeling about these. I know that a ton of people love them. I am very pumped to read these. I think that these are going to be a huge win on this TBR. Next we have The Atlas Six by Olivia Blake. I used to know what this was about, and unfortunately I have forgotten, but I know it has dark academia vibes, and that is why I picked this up. Next we have Chain of Gold and Chain of Iron by Cassandra Clare. The third book, which I don't remember the name of, is coming out next year in March, and I really need to catch up on these, and I know they're going to take me a while to read because I want to annotate the Living Daylights out of these, and they're both huge. Next we have Here There Are Monsters by Melinda Berube. I'm so sorry. I'm not laughing at the name, I'm laughing at myself. So, I don't know much of what this book is about. I believe it's about this big sister who has to save her little sister, and it's about like nightmares coming to life and stuff. So I am very intrigued to see what I think of this. Next we have Falls Boys by Penelope Douglas. Again, don't know much about what this book is about. I just saw this cover. It was pink. It was back when I was reading Penelope Douglas books, like or I read the first two by her that I had read, and I was very excited to get to this. Next we have Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney. I also don't know much about this book, but that's kind of on purpose. This is a mystery thriller and it has to do with family. That's about all I know. Next, we have a cult classic on YouTube, and that is A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. Now, originally I was gonna read the original trilogy before picking this up, but I just realized that's probably not gonna happen this year, so I'm just gonna go into A Court of Silver Flames. I remember everything that happened in the previous 4 books. I just wanted a little bit of a refresher, and I did reread ACOTAR, so I think I'm ready to read this. Next, we have another Sarah J. Maas book, and that is House of Sky and Breath. This is the second book to the Crescent City trilogy, I believe it's gonna be. I am interested to see what I think about this one because I heard the ending either sucks or you love it, depending on who you are. Next, we have Laura by Alexandra Bracken. I don't know if you can actually see this cover. I feel like we're like one and the same color almost, but all I know is that this has like Greek mythology interwoven into it, and it's about like the Greek gods coming down to earth, and I think there's only one left, and if you kill them you get to be immortal, I think. That could be completely wrong, so if it's wrong, I'm sorry. Okay, next we probably have the biggest book on this list, and that is Empire of the Vampire by Jay Kristoff. I love the Nevernight trilogy by him. Empire of the Vampire, I just heard is so good and so gory and just so dark, and that's kind of what I'm looking for right now, honestly. Maybe I should read it this month. We only have 3 more books to talk about. We are almost there, friends. My foot is asleep, but we're gonna keep going. Next one we have is Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. I don't exactly know what this book is about. I believe it follows an unnamed main character who is obsessed with Rebecca, and she's trying to impersonate and become Rebecca, I believe. Next we have a book that I'm probably gonna regret reading, and that's The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I heard this will make you want to cry your eyes out, and I don't know if I'm ready for that right now, but I think this is another Greek myth retelling if I'm right. And last but certainly not least, we have The Jasmine Throne by Tasha Suri. The amount of excitement I have to read this book, I don't know why, but every time I think of this and I think of the cover, and just I get so freaking excited to read this, so I need to read it as soon as possible. I just haven't made the time for it, but now I will. And I'm just so freaking excited to read this. So I'm not gonna try to hold up 40 books. I'm sure y'all don't expect me to try to hold up 40 books either, but I am very, as you might have guessed, excited to read all of these books, hopefully by the end of the year, and if not, that's okay too. I have a plethora of books to choose from, so if I don't choose these ones to read, I'm sorry, but I am still super thrilled to hopefully get to these by the end of the year. Let me know some of the books that are on your end of the year TBR, as far-fetched or crazy as your reading plans may be for the rest of the year. I hope you're able to fulfill them in whatever manner you can. If you made it this far, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will talk to y'all in my next video. Bye everyone!